American workers are more dissatisfied with their pay and their ability to advance than at any point in the last 12 years, and simultaneously least likely to be able to leave and find something better. NASA's Curiosity rover just detected over 20 organic molecules on Mars, including a compound structurally similar to DNA precursors, and scientists genuinely can't rule out that ancient life put them there. And 60% of Americans are picky about their water. This is News SideQuest, the podcast for people who want to know what else happened today besides whatever everyone else is currently furious about. I'm Keith Conrad. Let's get into it. The New York Federal Reserve Bank released its annual survey of American workers this week, and the results are about as bleak as anything I've seen in this space. The share of workers who said they were satisfied with their wage compensation fell 3.3% to 52.3%, the smallest share in the survey's 12-year history. Workers have never been more dissatisfied with their pay or their ability to get ahead. And here's what makes this particularly difficult. The likelihood of moving to a new employer is simultaneously at multi-year lows. For most workers, switching jobs is the fastest route to a raise or a promotion. But with hiring at historically low levels, the path has largely disappeared. That combination, maximum dissatisfaction, minimum exit options, is a specific kind of psychological trap. It's not just that the job is bad, it's that you can see that the job is bad and you feel like you can't do anything about it. About 30% of all U.S. workers said they feel stuck in their current job. That's almost a third. A larger share, 43%, report they remain in their current role primarily because leaving would be too difficult or costly. When workers who feel the cost of living is too high are asked what makes leaving difficult, their answer is overwhelmingly economic. There's a pattern that plays out in tight hiring markets. In a strong labor market, dissatisfied employees leave, and organizations are forced to correct the problems that drove them out. In a tighter market, those corrections stall, they just don't happen. When workers can't leave, discontent accumulates inside organizations rather than being corrected through turnover. This creates a quieter but more persistent drag on productivity, morale, and culture. I want to be clear, I'm not offering a policy prescription here because, listen, we just don't do that here. What I want to talk about is the practical human question of what you do when you find yourself in that situation. Not the long-term strategy, that's a different conversation. The day-to-day version. When you're stuck somewhere that isn't working for you and you can't currently leave, what do you actually do to make the day worth showing up for? I have my own answer for this, and it involves having something outside of work that I genuinely care about, but I want yours. What actually works for you when you're in that very specific kind of rut?
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Good one.
Oh, that's terrific, Peter.
A new survey of 2,000 American adults finds that 2/3 of us, 65%, describe ourselves as picky about the type of water we drink. Before I get into the numbers, I want to note that the survey was commissioned by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Not exactly objective. I mention this not to dismiss the findings, which are real and absolutely hilarious, but because the framing of Americans care deeply about where their water comes from lands just a little differently when the sentence is followed by, and Crystal Geyser's water comes from a very good place. With that noted, here's what Americans apparently believe about their water. 50% say they can identify what type of water they're drinking without being told where it came from. 39% claim they can tell whether they're drinking bottled or tap water from the very first sip. 13% say they can tell by smelling it. 43% don't drink tap water from certain places. And 35% bring their own water with them whenever they leave home. 28% believe they can distinguish between specific brands of bottled water. 27% can taste differences between brands. These people are all liars. I'm just saying. Water is water, and unless something is added to it or it's contaminated, it all tastes the same. I stand by that as general principle with a caveat. Municipal water generally varies by city, and people who've moved between cities with very different mineral contents in their tap water can tell the difference. Chicago water is famously soft because it comes from Lake Michigan. New York City water has a distinctive character, so I'm told. If you've drunk water from Lake Michigan your whole life and then moved somewhere with different water, that's actually different. But 13% can tell by smelling it. That's something I'd like to see demonstrated. But it does bring up the question, what is the thing you're weirdly, unjustifiably picky about? Not the thing you have a good reason to be picky about, the thing where if you described your preference out loud to another person, they would look at you as if you're from Mars or something. For me, it's cereal. Generic brand cereal is not allowed in our house, and I will not be moved on this.
You call this slop? Real slop has got chunks of things in it. This is more like gruel. And this Chateau LeBlanc 68 is supposed to be served slightly chilled. This ain't room temperature. What do you think we are? Animals?
NASA's Curiosity rover has been exploring Gale Crater on Mars since 2012, conducted chemical experiments in 2020 using a reagent called TMAH, a corrosive chemical used in semiconductor manufacturing here on Earth that can break apart large, complex organic molecules inside rocks, releasing them as gases that onboard instruments can then analyze. It was the first time this experiment had ever been performed on another planet. The team had only 2 shots to get it right. The results, published this week in Nature Communications, I've got a copy if you want it. Curiosity detected more than 20 organic molecules from clay-bearing sandstones in a region of the crater called Glen Torridon, which scientists believe once contained water and may have had conditions favorable for ancient life. Among the molecules detected was a nitrogen-bearing compound with a structure similar to DNA precursors, a chemical never before confirmed on Mars. The rover also identified benzothiopene, a sulfurous compound commonly delivered to planets by meteorites. The same stuff that rained down on Mars from meteorites is what rained down on Earth, and it probably provided the building blocks for life as we know it on our planet. Now, and I want to be precise here because the distinction matters a lot. These molecules are not definitive evidence of past life. They could also have formed through geological processes on Mars or just arrived on meteorites. But the finding proves that complex organic molecules have been preserved on the Martian surface for more than 3 billion years. What it means is that the raw ingredients for life were there. Whether anything did anything with those ingredients is still unknown. The researchers who could potentially answer that question are working with samples collected by the Perseverance rover, but that sample return mission has effectively been canceled by the current administration due to cost concerns. Remember the NASA budget story we had this week? So the evidence is being preserved in rocks on Mars, and the mission that might have brought those rocks back to Earth isn't happening right now. If it turns out life once existed on Mars, even microscopic, ancient, long-dead life, that sort of changes the math on whether life is common or rare in the universe in a profound way. It would mean life arose independently on 2 different planets in the same solar system, one that we thought was particularly hostile to life. If it can happen twice in one neighborhood, the odds that we're alone in the cosmos got very, very small. If scientists confirm tomorrow that microbial life once existed on Mars, what would actually change for you?
And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords. I'd like to remind them that as a trusted TV personality, I can be helpful in rounding up others to toil in their underground sugar caves.
Finnish Air Force cadet pilots have been disciplined after drawing genitalia in the sky using their aircraft's contrails over populated areas. Now listen, I would never encourage such behavior, but the precision flying required to execute recognizable shapes at altitude is genuinely impressive. The Air Force apparently agreed that the flying was technically proficient while disagreeing with the artistic subject matter.
What is it, son? I don't know, sir. But it looks like a giant dick.
Yeah.
Take a look out of starboard. Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Pecker!
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's not a woodpecker. It looks like someone's...
Privates! We have reports of an unidentified flying object. It is a long, smooth shaft complete with 2 balls.
What is that? That looks just like an enormous...
Wang, pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying...
Willie.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it looks like a giant... Johnson.
An arson suspect arrived at a police interview with singed eyebrows. Investigators had not yet determined who set the fire when the suspect walked in. The eyebrows provided some useful context. I want to be charitable here and consider that there are other ways one might singe their eyebrows, but I'm struggling to identify them in this specific scenario.
Oh, there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight.
A new study finds that parrots use names for each other the way humans do, not mimicking words they've heard, but actually developing what appears to be individual identifiers for specific flock members. I like to think all pets have names for their humans that they'll never actually know. Dublin almost certainly has a name for me, and it's probably not flattering.
Oh!
Finally, 1 in 5 Americans believe they are psychic, according to a new survey. I didn't see that one coming. I also didn't see 20% being the number. I did not use psychic powers to arrive at either of those observations.
Oh, I get it.
That's it for News Side Quest. 3 questions still hanging out there in the ether. What you do to find joy in a job you're stuck in? What are you weirdly and unjustifiably picky about? And what would actually change for you if life on Mars was confirmed? Shoot me an email at newssidequest@gmail.com or hit me up in the Substack comments. See you tomorrow.